Yo, this is Dyson Knight, and we are at episode 46 of the Sup'm Show. Blacks benefited from slavery. Words from, those aren't my words. Those are words from, actually, they're not exactly, as I understand, what Governor DeSantis, Ron DeSantis, in Florida said. He actually said, his statement just was directed at that submission that is held, or you would find that in the new school curriculum for Florida. All right, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Hold on, I don't understand. I saw Dr. Kemp Bazard just a second ago, and then he popped right back off. I hope this issue isn't going to be from my end of the live, because you know I'm mobile, I'm moving around, I'm doing my thing. So yeah, I thought it was very much surprising. Dr. Kent Bazard, how are you?
I am good. Are you hearing me?
Okay.
Just making sure my audio.
I can hear you fine.
All right, great.
And we are up and in it and at it with this topic.
All right, good.
This headphones just decided that it wanted to cut off. So we're going raw. Yeah, man. So I talked to you in the Empire, in the gym, about this topic just briefly, and it was really blowing my mind. What I could see vividly happening as another abuse, what I deem to be an abuse of it's just politics doing its politics. But how did, before I get into to what I to what I deduce from with this statement that blacks benefited from slavery, I mean, what was your take on it? How did you feel initially, first of all?
Okay, so we're talking about has this been passed already?
Yeah, it's been approved.
It's been approved.
It's been approved.
So there's going to be a change to the Florida education system as far as Black history is concerned.
As far as all of the entire curriculum, there is a new curriculum. Right. You know, they keep some stuff, they add some stuff, they take some stuff away. So it's a new curriculum.
And somewhere, from what I understood, and I'm trying to be as objective as possible, from what I understood, they want to include now in the curriculum that there were Black people that benefited from slavery, and that they were Black people that in fact had slaves, which is actually true, right? So the question is, how do they intend to use that truth, and what is the goal that they're trying to achieve? Are we trying to downplay the effect, or are we trying to downplay how horrible it was because a few Black persons participated in it later on? And this is later on. This wasn't you know, they weren't all sitting around the table with the plantation owners at their monthly meetings. You know, it wasn't like that. This was later on, after you're starting to get towards the end of, and in fact going on after slavery was abolished. So my question then is, what are they really trying to achieve? I understand. And why? And if your goal is to tell the truth, why not tell all of it? Why are you only focusing on some of it? That particular point. Now, I haven't seen the curriculum. I don't think any of us have actually seen it.
I have.
So you have.
I've read through what is expected to be the mode of study in the African American heritage part of the WIBE. All right, so let's just add JP to the stream.
Fashionably late, gents. I apologize.
Nothing fashionable about it, Bay.
I'm here.
That's good, man.
We shall continue. Go ahead.
So yeah, I've seen the curriculum, and I that's what really got me bothered. Like I said at Empire Fitness, where I got these from.
Hey, put them chicken wings down, bro.
Don't worry about these chicken wings. These Empire specials.
Hey, can't. You need to get them turkey wings going, man. Take them chicken gizzards down, bro. Come on, let's go.
All you're saying is I need a smaller shake. That ain't cool.
Extra medium to be precise.
Extra medium.
Yeah, that's it. I was very emotional reading it because even though Bahamian blacks don't 100% relate to what American blacks went through, I happen to be reading this Malcolm X book at the same time and getting an understanding of what black people are upset about. You know, we hear the stories, we know about the massacres, we know about the assassinations, people like JFK, people like Malcolm X, people like Martin Luther King. We know about lynchings. We know that they had buck camps in Jamaica. We know that they were that all. No, I wouldn't say all. The majority of mixed children during that time were the results of mothers, black women being raped by slave masters. We know of these things, and like you were saying, Kent, is this an attempt to water down that information and to bring up the next generation oblivious to these travesties, these inhumane parts of America's history? And my thing, what I'm gathered from reading, going through the curriculum, I didn't really feel as though they were backing away from teaching all of what happened. I think what DeSantis did, and this is just my understanding of it, so I can't be quoted on it. I know election season coming up in America, so I don't want them to use this show or what we say as a defense or, you know, an attack on the governor. He is who he is. But I found it very odd about the curriculum. There are 21 subjects in this document that I read. 21 subjects, right? You got math, English, all these subjects. American history is one of them. African American history. In the 11 subjects, the 11 subjects takes up 216 pages, right? So the entire document, the entire curriculum is 216 pages. I want you to get an idea of this now. This is a real thick document. I didn't read through all 216 pages. I read through the African American portion of it, and that took up 21 pages. And in the 21 pages that I read through, there were 81 subtopics under African American history. 81 subtopics. Now y'all stay with me because I know math is getting a little crazy and you start calling out numbers. Out of these 81 subtopics, one of them is what DeSantis is talking about. Blacks being having benefited from slavery because in captivation, in slavery, they learned trades that they were able to use to amass wealth for themselves. Like if they were taught sewing or masonry, carpentry, or whatever it is that they were taught in slavery, farming, they were able to get their own farms. They were able to start their own fashion lines. They were able to do stuff like that. So this is what he's talking about. Now, I find it so awkward that out of 81 subtopics that he can choose, right? Maybe he spoke on more of it, but we don't know because we know how, you know, when election season is coming around, the media kind of focus on either the negative or the pro of whoever it is they support, right? And the fact that he chose that specific topic to make a comment on is baffling to me. Either he is and this is just my thought, either he is racist and he is trying to paint a picture that, oh, blacks shouldn't complain as much as they do about slavery because there were some blacks that benefited from slavery, or he is just, because he about our age, he is just ignorant to say that, you know, him being not a black man, but growing up in America, not feeling the black plight, not being a victim of systemic slavery, he may not know, and he may be looking for positives in the slavery story to promote out of ignorance, to say, hey, black people, we all, you know, we should brighten up, we should smile, we should, yeah, you know, and that might be in his heartfelt innocence and ignorance. I don't know. But the way I feel about it is that the curriculum covers 80 other topics. It covers the massacres. It covers the assassinations. It talks about how slaves were treated. It talks about the transatlantic passage. It even goes back to say before America really started, well, Britain and America really started benefiting, well, restructuring or structuring slavery, how slavery, kind of slavery was before, and what template they used to turn you know, the slave trade into something that's profitable for the Americas, on which America was built, right? On which America became the great country that it is. So blacks benefited from slavery, and I figure what we should talk about is two things in particular. One, should we attack the fact that the media is making this, or even the Democrats fighting against the Republicans, should we attack the fact that blacks are again being used for political gain or change of power, or, you know, for one person who they don't really like to get crucified? Should we be used that way? And or the other thing, whatever it is that y'all was thinking about it.
You want me to go first? Since I came in practically late.
Yes, sir.
All right. Heavy topic. Let me ask you all two a question. I'm going to start with you, Ken. Have you ever felt you've been held back in any type of situation, goal, because of your skin color?
No, not really.
Okay, okay, stop. Okay, cool. All right, Dyson,
Hey.
have you ever felt that you've been held back for the same reasons, because of your skin color?
Not because of my skin color, no.
Okay. Ken, can you ask me that same question, please? I don't want to ask myself, put in the third person. So
You light skin, bro.
that's not the point. You light skin too.
No, look, all three of us on the screen right now, bro.
No. Listen, have you ever felt that you've been held back?
You like red, bro.
Okay, now watch this. Okay, fine.
You could pass for Latino.
Okay, cool. I can pass for Latino, light skin, red, mix, whatever you've been calling.
Do you feel that you've missed any opportunity due to your skin color?
No, absolutely not. Now watch this. Personally, if any race, any skin color, work hard, I feel you could achieve your ultimate goal and your dreams. Would you guys agree?
Absolutely.
Ultimate goal, I don't know. But
when I say ultimate, I'm not talking about, oh my God, your final destination goal. What I'm trying to say, if you work hard, you can achieve something for self.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Why is it, right, that after many opportunities that's been presented to us as people of color, whether it be light skin or whatever you want to call it? Why is it that we're the only set of people that's constantly complaining about not getting any further in the world? Is it because of slavery? Is it because how we've been treated? Or is it because the majority stereotype blacks? You're comfortable with being and acting exactly what they want you to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're comfortable with acting and being that loud mouth, quick to fight, meet head on with aggression. Okay? Newsflash. Nobody wants to deal with anybody with those traits. I don't care what your skin color is. I don't care what your skin color is. Right?
I liken.
Go ahead.
You're right, but I liken the plight of the black man, especially in America, to the plight of women in business. Right? Mm-hmm. There's the obvious. There's the fact that women have to be extra good in order to be considered equal, or even almost equal, in order to be paid the same amount of money. We're pretty much in an era now where there's a little bit more balance in that, but still not. And I think that's where we are with blacks in America specifically, and all westernized nations when it comes to race as well.
That's what I get. Dyson, you know what's really, truly upsetting?
Shoot.
We're the only set of people, right, that like to tag along and join somebody else's cause. All right? And then when we join their cause, we want to come in with our own definition of how we think they should do things to please us. But then when the opportunity is presented for us to come together and make our own situation, we don't stick together. Do you guys follow me?
Yeah,
we don't stick together. We can't stick together like flies to shit, like white. We can't stick together for nothing in the world.
I'll give you an example.
Go ahead.
The example is there's a chicken place in Canada that sells like fried chicken. It's called I won't call the name of it, but there's a chicken place, right? And when I first went there, my first trip to Halifax, that is, in the store there were various races, ethnicities, right? It was just random. Whoever was willing to work could get a job in there. That's how it looked. If you look back into the kitchen, because you could see people working, hurrying around. The person at the desk was a different color from the person who was cooking. The person who was cooking was a different color from the person, or race from the different person, from the person who was answering the calls that were coming in, whatever. Now, recently I went in there. The place was bought by a certain race of people. And now in that restaurant, you only see that race of people working in there. Only.
Bro.
So that type of loyalty to race or to whatever it is amazing to me, because that's literally that's what you were talking about. Being able to work together to achieve something.
Can't ready to jump in now. I already see it. I'm gonna finish my point right now, bro. give me 1 minute. How are we gonna progress forward as a people, right? When issues arrive in this country in particular, California or wherever it may be, right? And it's time, well, I wouldn't say it's time. When it's a cause or a need that they think to riot to prove a point, right? Why is it that we got to break up our own shit? Do you understand that? Like the issue would be with a whole nother race of people, but yet you breaking up your own people's shit and looting and shoot up you. Why is it when we go to a music festival, right? That's mainly predominantly hip hop or reggae or whatever. Why the joints got to get shoot up? This shit don't go down in country music, bro. Y'all can guess what? Whoever listens to this to the stream can hate me all you want, talking about I dick riding the white man. I dick riding. What I'm doing is I'm explaining to you why other race of people view us the way they view us.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
and that takes me back to the topic that this governor made a statement that blacks benefited from slavery, and all of a sudden it's like the entire curriculum is bad.
Give me a white school, one of y'all. What are the top white schools y'all know about? Give me a top. I'm familiar. Give me a top white school.
I don't know, Yale.
Okay, let's say Yale. Why is it right now? Yale's been around for a very long time, right?
Right.
Okay, and they operate on a particular curriculum and in a particular way. Cool.
Right.
Now, why is it right that if a black person decides to go to Yale or just happens to whatever, why we gotta try to come in and try to bring and set up programs and different situations within a curriculum that's known not to benefit you? Just go to all black school. Simple. Why are you going to go to a predominantly white school?
Right. Yes. Why are you trying to look a certain way for certain? Why are you trying to be?
Get you trying to? We need to recognize Black History Month. They don't give a fuck about that.
No.
And they ain't been giving a fuck about that. And guess what? They are happily making it and proceeding by not giving a fuck about that. Why are you trying to bring awareness to what you feel or what you got going on when you're in a situation that's not even for you?
But Juan, see, I feel like things like this topic is by design. Like I almost feel like the Republicans and the Democrats are both in on it, because who threw the first rock at the governor for saying this?
Mm.
So with the black lady named Kamala
Harris.
Right. That lady, she's the first one to throw the rock, the black woman. So all of a sudden it becomes a black versus that even deepens the plot.
We are so quick to bite each other heads off, right? But be the first to talk about when the situation don't benefit us.
But
all the black people jump on it though. And that's my thing. Like all the black people jump on it. And one of the first things Kent says is that I don't think anybody actually read the curriculum, and that's true. Like people just
No, let me show you how deep this really goes. Just on the Kamala Harris point, we're in an era where if she didn't say anything, it would have been a problem.
Yes,
she literally had to say something.
Agreed.
Even if she didn't, or persons in a position who are black and female and powerful, she had to say something.
Yeah.
Because the rest of us would have been like, why you don't say nothing, Kamala Harris? What are you? Why, you understand what I'm saying? So,
but why? Why say that though?
That's the reason why we like that. And this is, if I'm going to play a devil advocate for a second, right? I don't know. I'm not deep into American politics like that. For me, it seems very simplified. You're on this side or you're on that side. I think that's the wrong way to approach politics, to be honest.
Ignorant.
Because I can't.
Very ignorant.
Yeah, I can't be. So like, if you're in this party, you're liberal and you believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're in this party, you're conservative and you believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My brain don't work like that, right? So I can't operate on that type of system. But
85% rule, bro. Remember that. Go on.
But let's just say let's just pretend that DeSantis does not have any sinister intentions. Let's assume for a second that he's acting on the premise that if he waters down the message of how blacks and slaves from Africa suffered during the transatlantic slave trade, there are people, and there are black what do you call them? What do you call them? What do you call them? Psychologists. They are black psychologists
Mm-hmm.
that have mentioned that they believe that the reason for the ongoing mental trauma is that we keep revisiting slavery
Yes.
over and over and over again, right?
Mhm.
To the point where everybody feels that their father was a slave. Some of the kids who are alive today, their grandparents were not around, or sorry, they didn't experience certain ways of life. That's how far away we're moving from it. And the further you move away, the further away your direct experience will be to slavery. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I have to go all the way to my great grandmother to be a great
Same.
great grandmother. Sorry,
Same.
my mother's grandmother, whatever that is,
Mhm.
all the way back there, right? So my daughter now, she's never ever gonna know what in the world my great grandmother had to go through. But I mean, she may hear about it, she may read about it, and because they hear about it and read about it, they absorb it and they feel it. Once in a while, a movie will come out like 12 Years a Slave or something like that, and you watch that movie, and that makes you angry. That gives you emotional and mental trauma, and you carry that around with you like it's still happening when it's actually not. Right?
Right.
So let's assume, giving him the benefit of the doubt for whatever reason, that this is an attempt to reduce that type of psychological, mental, societal, whatever trauma. Do you think that? What do you think about what he's doing now? If you look at it like that,
Something to think about.
because if you, again, the reason why Kamala Harris had to say something
And she did.
is
Because if she did, she'd be crucified.
there's so many traumatized people. Even if she agrees, it's to the point where you can't even say what you
Let me get what
truly
you said.
feel if you want to remain popular or remain
Relevant.
relevant,
Mhm.
remain on TV, remain not canceled, not fired, not whatever. You have to forget about what you feel. You forget about what you believe. You have to forget about your principles, and you got to go along with what the masses are saying and doing. Because if you don't, you stand to lose everything you have. You see what I'm saying? There's no way
Yeah.
they would bring this up in the next election if she tried to run again in the next election. And if she didn't say nothing at this point, if she didn't say anything, they would have bring that up in the debate and say, 2 years ago, when Governor DeSantis said this, you didn't say anything, Kamala Harris, so you're not defending the black people. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why I'm not made out for politics. That's why I'm not made out for it, right?
Yeah.
But that's what would happen. So is this really? Is he really doing us a favor, right? By not erasing it from the curriculum, but let's just look at it differently sometime. Maybe we say, I mean, no, not sometime. Maybe we change our approach to teaching it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Let me just say that
Can you call
from
for
this AP News article.
Let me answer this question. I think reparations is a silly idea. I think that reparations in the form we talked about this before. Reparations in the form of giving out money is a silly idea.
Yeah.
Now there are countries.
Be specific about that. In the form of everybody getting a certain amount of money, that's just dumb. People who poor will stay poor.
Right. So there are countries. There are countries. There are countries. Hold on. There are countries that have been negatively affected for decades because of slavery, and most of those are Black or Afro-Caribbean countries. Most of those. Some are in Africa. Some are especially in North and Middle Central Africa. Right. A lot of those countries suffered because of the oppression done by a lot of these conquerors. Right. So perhaps in that case, there should be some reparation at a national level, but at a individual level, like giving everybody how much that could be anyway. Everybody can get what, $10? That don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. You see what I'm saying? So maybe
Yeah.
some type of debt forgiveness or something like that for these countries or something like that. I would
Yeah.
agree with.
Yeah. Well,
Ruckus.
let's go to the
Go
facts
ahead.
on that same thing. Let's go to the facts. When slavery was abolished, when British made the call and said and ended slavery, all of the slave masters that lost slaves were paid out for their loss. So it would definitely point that there is something owed to Black people. Now that is a fact. So when it comes to reparations, I do believe that there should be a reparations, but I believe the reparations should fight the systemic effect of slavery and racism.
Nobody's saying to forget, you know. I don't think anybody
Yeah,
said.
I was just about to say the same thing. Go ahead, bro.
Nobody said anything about forgetting.
Definitely, it should never be forgotten.
Should never be forgotten. Nobody said that.
As well as it should never be politicized. And that's something that I feel as though the Republicans and the Democrats are being guilty of in this statement, with one flipping subtopic in a curriculum of 81 subtopics underneath American African American history. I think it definitely shouldn't be, and that's pretty much what Kamala Harris said according to this AP article. She said, and this probably they just paraphrasing. It's in quotes that, not this part, but extremists want to replace history with lies. That's one of the quotes that she said. She said,
"That's not a lie. That's not a lie, though. It's not a lie.
It definitely isn't a lie. But it's like saying we know that Jesus was in white. And to have a white Jesus is a lie. But we would say that, well, he was a man, so it doesn't really matter what color it is. It's really a misdirection and it's an attempt to steer people away from what was actually damaging. So
I don't know, Dyson. Like I said, I would say if you're going to teach history, then teach the whole history.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't teach part of it. Because we always ignore until the movie, what the movie name again?
Roots.
Queen King.
Oh,
what the name again? The Warrior Queen. What is this?
Don't ask me. I don't watch them shits. Go ahead.
The Warrior King, whatever it was, the Warrior Queen, whatever. So I'm saying until that movie came out, for a long time we forgot about the fact that it was Black tribes who captured other Africans and sold them to the Europeans at first. We learned this in school, you know. It right there. Yeah. We had this argument.
Curriculum.
I had this argument before. We learned this in school. It's right there in the book. It's in the book, Making in the Bahamas, that we use in school. It's right in that book. Right? So I mean, it's not like we didn't learn this. We learned it, but we don't say it. We don't say it because we want to maintain a level of, in my humble opinion, we want to maintain a level of victimhood. So we want to make it seem like Africans came and took us out. I'm sorry, white people came and took us from Africa. You heard plenty reggae songs by plenty reggae artists and stuff say they took us out of Africa.
Yeah, stolen from Africa.
Somewhere stolen. But you're talking about the most powerful race in the world, the tallest, biggest, strongest humans on earth at the time. And you're talking about these guys came in there and took. They couldn't do that. They couldn't do it. They had to negotiate and bargain with certain tribes to get the people for them, because they couldn't go deep into Africa. They didn't know where to go. When they got killed trying to go there, either the animals killed them or the Africans killed them. So it wasn't that easy for white men just to come into Africa and take people out. That was quite a monumental task to even venture into Africa. So what I'm saying is, we skip over that part of it, and we only focus on the whipping and the whipping and the raping, which is all significant. You must not forget that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, we have to realize too that on both sides of the fence, there was some bad stuff going on, and on both sides of the fence, to some degree, if you're going to talk about what he's talking about, there were some businessmen who took opportunities, and women, by the way. There were some businessmen and women who took advantage of the later stages of the slave trade and built small empires for themselves. This is the truth.
It is true. It is also true, like you say, the whole story. His statement, the statement that blacks benefited from slavery, to me, is a true statement, but the context is way off. It literally should say some blacks were able to overcome the atrocities of slavery and make good on something that was awful that happened to them. So
But they
it doesn't
used,
even sound like that. It
they
sounds,
used slaves to do it.
say again.
They used slaves to do it.
No, I'm talking about black. I'm talking about these slaves using like when they were freed and then they used their skill that they see now. Listen,
Right.
when
They use their skill, Dyson. But
they trade,
quite a
right?
few of them became slave owners themselves.
Yes, yes.
We have to,
But this is what
acknowledge that that
what we
happened.
have to understand is that slavery in itself it's not anything new. Racism
No.
is racism, colorism is a very Western mind creation though, right? Because civilization is very, very old. We have to understand that. And back in the day, as far as you look back in history, some of the if you look at the Bible again, and you really make a determination of how everyone was walking all the way across Europe, all across Asia, all across Africa, all different types of colors. You have stories in history about is it Mansa Musa? What's the name of the richest, one of the richest men that ever lived?
I
When
don't
he
know.
would when he would journey through all of Europe, all of Asia, and build schools and spread gold over towns, and it is really credited. They credit him as to making the Europeans jealous enough to come down to Africa, learn, study and art in black schools, in black universities, take the information back to Europe, develop, become more of a developed society, and then come back and flick and rape and rob and steal. Right? Because they know what Africa had. They knew the resources. They found out what resources they had because of rich black people walking through the world. And if you go back in history, you understand they talk about Christopher Columbus. Everything is a brainwash. They make you believe that Christopher Columbus discovered the new world as if there was nobody there.
Yeah.
Right.
When Africans already knew that they used to sail into the Americas for eons, long before Christopher Columbus. In fact, it's the stories of sailors, African sailors going to flicking the New World is how Christopher Columbus got the idea to sail that way to begin with. But see, people in his immediate area was dumb, and they believed these things. Even the kings and queens believed these things. But he got information from the what I could just say it. Anyway, I digress from that whole thing. These are just brief because what I believe, and here's Mansa Musa. What I believe is that if blacks have such a problem with slavery, then why don't we listen to JP? Why don't we start working together? Why don't we rely on one another and build? If we so hate what the white man has done to the black man,
Let me
why
piggyback.
wearing his clothes?
Why is it fresh, right?
His religion.
Yes. Let me piggyback off of that. So Ruckus drop a comment say we should never forget because Japan don't forget Hiroshima and the Jews don't forget Holocaust. But here's the difference between them and us as a race. The thing is, right? The Jewish people, they went through Holocaust and was not, right? They didn't forget, but they progressed forward as a people.
They also united.
Okay.
They also very united. They're still united.
Okay, great. So that's point number one. Point number two, the Japanese or wherever, Hiroshima, wherever it is, they still progress forward as a people. Okay, they can get together to get something done. You know what a buddy of mine used to say? A buddy of mine used to say this, and he's black. Racism only applies to broke people.
Wow.
Think about that for a second.
So it's really classism, not racism.
No, he said racism
I feel
only applies to broke people. I asked him, what exactly does he mean? He says that, now don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, a particular race, whether they want to admit it or not, will always stick with their own. I know that for a fact because I'm in business. Huh?
a few of them, a few races only stick with their own.
They always stick with their own. No matter how much they laugh and talk in your face, and pretend like, you're all on the same level. They will always think they're a level above you. When they get amongst their own people, you will be if you come up in conversation, you won't be the star of the conversation, if you know what I mean. But the thing is this, right? Why can't we just work hard together as a people? Why can't we just unite together as a people and just get things done instead of sitting around all day talking about 40 acres and a fucking mule? What we're old. Listen, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. It ain't happened. It ain't gonna happen. Don't rely on the politicians to make it happen. Don't rely on a prime minister to make it happen. Don't rely on a president to make it happen. You gotta make it happen. You gotta change it, bro. A few of us gotta change it. You know what Wu-Tang always said? You know why Wu-Tang represent? You know why Wu-Tang are what they are today as a legendary hip-hop group? When they came in as single members trying to get record deals, it didn't work. When they came in as a group, RZA said himself, they formed a fist and punched through the industry. Now you cannot be denied. He said when he first went to seek his first record deal, they denied him. He went back to the block, got his brothers. And when they came in, now you cannot be denied. Unite, man. You got to unite. Stop crying about what you have and what you don't have and who owe you this. And we've been slaves for 300 years and oh my God. Listen, stop that shit. Change your mindset.
That's what this is all about.
Straight up.
That's what it's all about, because if you can sway, and this is what, if I read this in the book, if you leave it in America for, and I'll select whites. If you leave it for whites to vote, the votes will be very close, very near, very 50-50 as to who's going to win the government, right? So what you need is you need to swing that minority vote. You got to get that minority vote to back your cause. You have to tell them what they want to hear, or you have to stop them from voting. And that's the talk that we see now coming close to American elections, is that we're trying to upset, or what's the word? You're trying to work on the emotions of a race in order to get them to vote a certain way. Now, here's why I think that when Black people get in positions of power, like how Obama was, like how Kamala Harris is, when you respond to certain stupid, ignorant, flippant statements like Blacks benefited from slavery, even though it's just a topic in a one of 81 topics, right? But when you are stupid enough to make that statement, a Black person in power has to come at them intelligently and use that platform and opportunity to get all Blacks to wise up, not get angry, not attack the person that made the statement, but start thinking as to why. How does this person benefit from making this statement? Why is he trying to stir up my emotion? You understand what I'm saying? Or why are they trying to stir up my emotions? People need to stop allowing politics, and I would even say politics, pastors, and it's one other P, to influence them. So to influence them off of their emotions, because at the end of the day, bro, like you say, Juan, is on you. It ain't somebody may cause me can't, somebody whatever the obstacle is. And we know that it's more unfair for Blacks than it is for any other race. but for more reasons than just slavery. Slavery is a big one, but as far as the record shows right now, slavery is over.
Bro,
What we're
I don't
dealing
want nobody. I don't want nobody around me. Real talk, man. I don't want
Yeah.
nobody around me talking no reparation shit, bro. I don't want niggas like that around me. Straight up. Say, but at least the
Hold
Jews
on,
and
let me just finish
Asians
that point.
broadly built and developed their own communities. Exactly.
Yeah, that's why that finishes my point perfectly. Because what I was saying is that slavery is over, and what exists now is just that mental game now. Where we as black people scared of other black people, think little of other black people.
Listen, the biggest killer of the black man is another fucking black man.
Yeah.
I said it.
He's the most effective. He's the most effective.
I gotta say this, Dyson. I can throw a stone there.
Go ahead.
If since slavery, us as black persons, black people,
Yes, it is mental slavery, Ruckus. Mhm.
if since slavery, us as black people, since that traumatic event, us as black people came together and were as successful, prominent as, say, for example, the Jewish community, meaning we owned as much land, we owned real estate, we taught our kids to own businesses, we stuck together, supported each other, supported our community, disciplined ourselves not to waste time and nonsense. I mean, I never see no Jewish person twerking in my life.
No.
I've never seen a Jewish person twerking, no, nothing like that. But if we
They can't though. I saw them try.
what I'm saying is, if we were the most prominent people in the Americas as far as monetary value, owning real estate, owning businesses and things like that, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be having this conversation at all. We wouldn't be even thinking about if we benefited from slavery or not. We wouldn't be having this conversation.
But why, when the opportunities like what you just said, right? Why is it when the opportunity arise, we always got to drop the ball? Why?
Because, and again, if you notice, I'm on both sides of the fence here. I'll give you an answer for that. I want to answer your question, Dyson, because you asked a similar question to what JP just said. The reason why we can't work together, some persons will state, and I've heard some African historians, theologians, prominent African persons say this, African American persons say this, that we've been programmed. The first thing that the slave owners would do when they bring the slaves in is break their unity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You had to do that, or the slaves will revolt. That didn't last forever. But the first thing they had to do is take away their identity, break their unity. That's why they separated them. They made sure the same tribes too much of the same tribe didn't hang out together. They separated families when possible, and stuff like that. All type of other stuff.
Not when possible. That was a part of the colonistic template to separate families. Yeah.
So there are some African American thinkers who believe that trauma has been passed down and handed down generation to generation.
Mm-hmm.
Bad thing, good thing, accidental, on purpose, whatever. But it's been passed down. And that's the reason why we, more than any other race in the region, is most difficult for us to work together than any other race in the region, because we've been programmed, one, to compete against each other.
Yeah.
For
Peanuts.
piece of the pie. For piece of the pie. We've been programmed to fight against each other at the bottom for piece of the pie. Right? And I agree with that to an extent. However, that doesn't excuse you from the behavior, because everybody that has a sound mind has a choice.
Can I? Yes.
So how come we get it, Ken? How come we understand?
Because we have a choice. We decided that we are not going to do this. We are not going to do that. We're going to do this.
Everybody has a choice, bro. Everybody has a choice.
Everybody does have a choice.
I just want to defend the blacks that do work together quickly, because black people working together and creating their own communities, like this YouTube user says, the Jews and the Asians broadly built and developed their own communities. there were black communities too.
speaking
Successful
generally.
black communities, black
Speaking
banks,
generally.
black stores, black this, black everything in the black community. And they were burnt to the ground. They were
What time?
burnt.
What time period was this?
The Tulsa massacre.
Mhm.
There was a Black Wall Street.
Let me see. Black Wall Street.
There was a Black Wall Street. There were black communities that were successfully non-integrated and just fully black and making it, and they were targeted and wiped out. The reason I said, I'm reading the Malcolm X book, Malcolm X was not of the same opinion as Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King wanted peace and integration and everybody could get along, and blacks and whites. Malcolm X wasn't into that. He was like, forget the white man, period. We don't need nothing from you. We are simply going to rely on one another for everything we need. It's going to be black on everything. They didn't allow blacks into their organization at all.
Who killed Malcolm X? Who killed Malcolm X?
That black people.
Well, they were black, but
Black people
so all of that,
Yeah.
right? Work.
Black people killing.
All that forward thinking, only to get right back to not even step one, step zero, and just take him out by your own people.
and if people, I watched a few documentaries on that, and you know, it's people's opinions. It's people's opinions. But again, back some YouTube users said Black Crab syndrome. There were other members. Remember, he had split at that point. He had split from the we call them
The black Muslims.
the black Muslim.
Talking about Malcolm X. He didn't split. He was ostracized. He was cut off.
They were going their separate ways, and he was
put out. He ain't gone no separate ways. He still wanted to be in. He was put out.
He was put out, and he had his own following. He was getting his own following, and it was starting to grow.
Right.
All right. And some believe this is the reason why they believe that he was killed by the other group.
Well, Malcolm, because I'm versed, and I'm really, I really have a new level of respect for Malcolm. He was always my favorite freedom fighter, but I have a new level of respect from reading this book. And what he did for the Muslims was when he came out of prison and he became a Muslim, there was only but one, I think, or two temples, Muslim temples. He was the main driving asset for the growth from them going from one or two temples to them having a multitude of Muslim mosques. Malcolm X literally did that himself. He taught other ministers. He became a minister and he taught other ministers. He was the one that always went to do all of the television and radio interviews and all that other type stuff. So his face was and he demonstrated not on purpose that he was able to. He became the only black in America who can stop a riot. He started a riot and he stopped it. He didn't start it on purpose. He was invited by other freedom fighters, the ones that wanted integration, as he puts it, and to speak. And he got upset that he was asked to speak because they didn't really want him to speak. They just wanted to use his name. So when the crowd came to see and hear Malcolm speak, he got up on stage and he said, y'all, I ain't talking because the only reason they have me on this ticket is because they wanted to attract a crowd. So peace out, right? So he dropped one of them and the whole crowd got dead rowdy and was like getting ready to riot. And he had to get on top of a car and say, no, guys, y'all calm down. We don't need this type of smoke. He was also the first, his temple was also the first one to do one of those, you know, how the Black Panthers used to stand outside in the road with their guns in front of the police station and things like that to intimidate the police when they was wrongfully holding black people and abusing them. his temple was the first but I don't know if they were doing it before, but he was one of the first organized demonstrations like that stopped them from holding a dying, beaten black man and sending him to the hospital instead. Like, this is how Malcolm X was moving, and he wasn't moving like they had him pinned as an angry black man, which is how I liked him. But reading the book, you realize that that's not really what he was all about. You understand me saying? He was just saying, yes, it's by any means necessary, but that's if y'all mess with us. We ain't trying to mess with y'all. We don't even want anything from you, right? But if you try to mess with us, it could be a problem.
But again, they still kill him, right?
No,
and I agree with what Fee says. Me and I talk about this all the time. There's an attack.
Facts.
And there are people who don't want to see us succeed. There are people who don't want to see us get along. There are people who don't want to see us to work together. There are people who don't want to see that. But here's the thing. And I saw this in a short. There's a guy doing a bunch of YouTube shorts with a KKK member, an alleged KKK member, a black guy, and he ran to the KKK member, and they're talking, right? They're talking at
this old white man.
The old white man, yeah.
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
He said to the guy, "Look, do you guys still lynch?" He said, "Lynch." He said, "We don't need to lynch anymore." He said, "No, we ain't got to do that. We just watch the news."
Yeah.
He said, "We sit down, grab a few beers, we watch the news, and we have a grand time." Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He said they took all the work away from us. He said we ain't got to lynch no more. We ain't gotta pretend like we ain't gotta send a woman out there to say I got raped by a black man. They gotta do none of that because we doing it ourselves. So this is essentially what he said. The dude said this, and everybody laughing like it's a joke.
And that's why I'm saying.
I'm like, that's not funny. That's not funny at all. He's right.
Why I say black leaders need to take the opportunities to use the platform to speak intelligently and put other blacks on game.
But this is the problem. Whenever you start to talk that way, and it's unfortunate for DeSantis that he took the approach he did, maybe because he's not sensitive enough. But I don't know what he's trying to do. But
trying to win government.
Yeah, but let me just say he's not.
He already has a minority vote.
He's probably taking the wrong approach. But what I'm saying is, anybody who tries to speak like what we said just now, first of all, you have to acknowledge the fact that, hey, we doing garbage. We need to get our act together. We need to fix our own communities. We need to fix our own communities, not the government, not anybody else. We need to fix our own communities. We need to support ourselves. We need to make our kids flip in text in English instead of texting a bunch of garbage. We need to freaking ban twerking. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, we need to learn. We need to teach. I'm saying in the appropriate context, twerking can be eliminated in the appropriate context. I'm sure there's a use somewhere, but
yes, there is.
I'm sure there's a use for twerking, right? If you listening to me, so I'm sure there's a use for twerking. However, not at 13 years old on TikTok. All right, you shouldn't be. That's like crazy stuff. That's not empowering.
I don't agree. Here's why I don't agree. Here's why I don't agree. Because if you look at African tribes, it's cultural, bro. I know they don't use it like some of these young people. They're not using it for culture, but the fact that they can move this way, it's cultural. And the fact that it's sexualized is because of how our bodies are naturally designed. Now, what we need to do is we need to explain to them that they need not exploit themselves in a sexual way. But their movements is their movements.
My point is
disagree.
My point is, whenever you start to talk, like we can talk about that next week. My point is, whenever somebody starts to speak up like this as a black person or person of color and start to speak about us and what we need to do, they're ostracized. I always bring up the example of Bill Cosby back in 1990, probably 99, 98, 99. When he was quiet for a long time, the show was over, he was just enjoying it, whatever his life, whatever. And then he made the news because he said he went on a rant on some show and he said, listen, these boys need to pull up their pants.
Yeah, I remember that.
You remember that? He said they need to pull their pants up, fix their clothes, learn to dress properly, learn to talk properly, learn to act properly. Our girls need to learn to behave. They need to do this and that, and they jump all over him. They say, "Yo, how you ratting out your own people and all this stuff?" Say he's airing our dirty laundry. They start talking all type of nonsense instead of saying, "You know what? You're right, and we need to fix this and learn to support our own communities and build our own communities better." But
We gotta make that a topic.
until we address that,
Yeah, because I have my views on that.
we're gonna always be in this position. We're gonna always suffer the negative effects of slavery if we don't address that.
Yeah, see, okay, I on the YouTube user and what Ruckus says, and then we could start closing it out. But not only with the YouTube user, not only was Malcolm more charismatic. See, Malcolm was charismatic because of his life from a child, all the things that he went through. The fact that he used to sell drugs and rob and all these other type things, and he could street talk with the best of them, that made it so that he can speak to the, I wouldn't say the lowest of the low, but he could speak to hustlers and gangbangers and prostitutes because he spoke their language, and at the same time he could turn around and go to Harvard and Yale and sit down with leaders of nations and have intellectual conversations and probably defend himself in intelligent conversation. Now, yeah, Elijah Muhammad, I think he only went to 4th grade or 5th grade, so he wasn't that, smart. He just used to say what he had to say, and that'd be it. But Malcolm X, people should read that book. Where it is. I'll put it in the comments. Right. And then what Ruckus is saying about nobody listened, because you have people like Meg Thee Stallion, you have people like Cardi B, but you look at Wu-Tang again, and you look at how when hip hop was hip hop, the information that was coming out of hip hop was raw, but it was way more necessary than the nonsense that we spread now. But we look at I was watching the Barbie movie with my daughter the other day, and
it, Dyson. Good for you. You did it for me.
No, I didn't really watch it. I didn't go to the movies to watch it. Some bootleg type thing, right?
Yeah, you did. You was in front of the state. Go ahead. It's all right.
No. Because my other daughter wanted to watch it. Right. I'm so happy that she didn't want to watch it with me. She want to watch it with her cousin. So I was like, great. But you look at a Barbie doll and you say, okay, Barbie thought that there was a woman CEO, a woman bringing the ideas to the table to create these Barbie dolls, when it was an entire panel of flipping men. What we need to do, we need to wise up and see who is calling the shots and who is making the calls. Because I tell you one thing, Black people benefited from slavery. That idea ain't come from a panel of Black people to say that. A panel of Black people they're not going to make an insensitive statement like that. But a panel of non-Black people is still going to get, like the KKK man said, is sit down and have drinks and watch the news. A panel of them is going to say, hey, you want to see me get these Negroes to fight amongst each other? Wow. Yeah. So we definitely need to, like P was saying, we need to understand the plan. We need to understand what the focus is. Follow the money, bro. Because to this day, I do not believe. I believe slaves created a successful economy for America, and that the persons that won off that deal, who benefited from that deal, are still trying to benefit from the same deal, and they're just recreating how it looks. I do believe that. But the only way they can do it now is to keep you stupid. If you would take your last dollar and spend it on some flipping tennis shoes, I don't care who you see wearing these shoes or promoting these shoes. That ain't the person who calling the shots, bro. Ain't no black athletes making no buku cash. A panel of black athletes making buku cash off of it. You understand what I'm saying?
Agreed.
It ain't your race. You supporting another race, and then you complaining about systemic slavery when you support.
We're not going to buy the shoes that's owned by the panel of black people.
Exactly. You ain't
They
gonna buy it.
ain't gonna buy the FUBU. They ain't gonna buy the rest of them brands. They ain't gonna buy those. That's how.
Look,
And that's been proven because Fubu now is defunct, and you can find that shit in Walmart.
yeah.
Understand?
Yeah.
We can
All
buy
right. So,
FUBU.
final thoughts.
You know, this is a touchy subject for some.
You're right, Ruckus. Mhm.
We need to do less complaining, more uniting, okay? More togetherness to try to figure something out. Because these other races, they got it figured out, bro. They get figured out. And like I said before in my earlier comment, we love to attach ourselves to other people's shit, to other people's successes, to other people's rules, to other people's standards, to other people's guidelines. And then when we attach ourselves to it, we try to make a sub guideline, if you will, under their original guidelines. How does that even make sense? When their guidelines and way of doing things has been in order for decades.
Decades. Count time.
Millenniums, whatever you want to call it, okay? And it's been proven to benefit them, not you, not you.
Yeah.
But when the opportunity arises for you to get together to do your thing with your people so y'all can benefit, you know what you do? You kill the next one who's to the left of you. You kill the ones to the right of you. And when I say kill, sometimes physically killed. But I'm talking about killed as far as talking about them, as far as going behind their back, as far as skimming off the top. And I'm not saying this don't happen in other races. I'm not saying that. It does happen. But when it happens in those other races, they still find a way to come out on top. They still find a way to come out on top.
Everything inside.
Because the rules and guidelines are in place in case these things happen. You ever wonder why companies like Walmart and Home Depot and all these places have a great return policy to their store? They can give a fuck what you return, bro. Bro, they don't even care. Listen, they don't even care if the boxes are torn up and the pieces are used. You know what they ask you? Cash or credit. Damn it, bro, you could have something in your house for 2 years in the closet sitting home. You take it back, cash or credit. Because they have guidelines and policies in place that protects them. You understand? Now, until we do away with all the pettiness, all the beefing, all the jealousy, very important word. Even more important than that, envy. Envy, listen, envy is greater than jealousy. Jealousy is when someone just talks about you and wish they could do the things that you're doing, but they can't do it. Envy is when a person actually wants to be you and will take you out to be you. That's the difference between the two right there.
That's what happened to Malcolm.
I'm telling you. Envy is when someone else will get into the person who you trusted air, and for a little bit of cash, they take you out of here thinking they're going to benefit from that person. But the plan all along was just to break up what you all were starting.
Yep.
That's the plan.
Yep.
Man, listen, we got to move smarter as a people. We got to move wiser. We got to build. And sometimes you got to destroy to build. Sometimes it's a must for war before you could have peace. Now, when I say war, I don't mean in the streets doing dumb shit. We got enough of that going on here. Sometimes you got to talk to yourself and try to break things down to yourself and be like, you know what am I doing wrong? What can I do to make a change? How can I help Dyson Knight? How can I help Kent Bazard? How I can help Ruckus? How can I help my brother to the left and the right of me? How? Straight up, man. We got to do better as a people and just as human beings in general. And stop, for the love of God, all the gods, Greeks, Zeus, whatever you want to call it, planets, oceans, for the love of everything that's good in heaven and hell, stop complaining about what the fuck you think you owed, bro. You're not getting it. You ain't getting it. 40 acres and a mule, 2 mules, a horse, a falcon, you ain't getting it. You want something, create something.
Yeah.
Okay, that can bring you resources and then spread it amongst your people and then move from that point forward. Go ahead, man.
Well, I
Got a question though, JP. I don't know if you want to.
How can we help? How can we help JP? Don't listen to help me. Well, if he's talking about how can we help me personally, I don't want to help personally. He's asking me how can we help as a people.
Right.
Right. Well, I'll answer both. If he's coming at the angle like, well, JP, how can we help me? How can people help me? I don't want the help. The thing is, do what you need to do to help your brother. When I say help each other, come together to form different structures. Come together to think about how you can pool your resources together and get things done. Brotherly love, man. Like I don't get it. And if he's talking about how can people just help in general, education is the key. Nobody owes you nothing in this world. Nobody owes you shit. Nobody owe you anything. It's up to you to get it done. Kent Bazard didn't get in the position he's in by saying, oh, I owed 40 acres and a mule. Dyson Knight didn't get where you are talking about, boy, I need my food right now and my mule. Me, I get like, boy, I going to I need my mule and my cotton. Yeah, we recognize what we went through. We get it. But yeah, man, how long are we going to cry over that shit? You ain't getting no mule. You ain't getting no 40 acres. You ain't getting shit, nigga. Do what you got to do for you. Simple.
Doc.
I could be quick. Again, touchy topic, because we have to acknowledge the fact that a lot of, I think, getting past whatever effects we may have had from slavery, we have to begin with acknowledging the fact that, number one, we're not doing our best. We're not at our best. We're not doing our best. Focusing on why that happened really is irrelevant at the moment. It really is irrelevant. Even if we identify 100% that slavery is the reason why gangbanging exists, which is not true. But if we say, even if we prove that factually, what does that do? Is that going to stop gangbanging? No.
Nope.
So what's going to stop is when fellas realize that this is a waste of time, this is non-productive for us as a people, and this is only playing into someone else's game. It's not playing into our game. At the same time, though, I went and over the past week from here to Talk Dyson, I went and looked at some people's points as to how we benefited from slavery, and I came up with some interesting stuff.
Okay.
Some persons believe that we benefited from slavery from, like you said earlier, acquiring different skills and trades. And that's only because, we're looking at generations of slaves. So the original slaves that were brought here, of course, had their skills and trades. But as time went on, all that was lost, right? So you ended up having to train people again. Secondly, strengthening the family bond in the Black community. The Black community has a strong, strong family structure. Family is very important to us, right? If you're a fifth, sixth cousin, use cousin. You understand what I mean? It don't matter how far away you is, 5, 6, 7, 8 cousin, use cousin. All right, so we're very close in that regard, and that's due to the experiences we've had before and after, during and after slavery. Cultural traditions John Canoe is a great example, right? So a lot of cultural traditions that were brought from Africa that may have gotten a little spiced up, changed around, but a lot of those traditions have continued after slavery. All the different carnivals, all the different celebrations, capoeira, right? All of those things came from slaves and slaves being here. They wouldn't have existed in the form that they are in now if it wasn't for slavery. All right. Thirdly is I'm sorry. The last thing is we learn how to mobilize. Now we don't do it enough. We don't do it often, but we learn how to fight for rights. If there's one thing Bahamian could do, Bahamians. The one thing that Black people can do on this side of the world is fight for rights. If we have a right, we can fight for it, no matter how silly the right is. If there's one thing we could do, is fight for rights. We can fight for the right. I don't know, wearing our pants low. We can fight for that right. We just need to, I think, focus our energies in the right direction. You understand what I'm saying? We need to first of all stop the destruction of our family, which we can do on our own. And we talk about the war between men and women on other shows. That's something that needs to be addressed so that we can maintain our family structure. Secondly, we need to, like the shirt says, we need to realize that you're only limited by yourself. You're only limited by yourself and your mind. And stop putting the blame on some type of system, some type of somebody sitting in some chair somewhere. Yes, people make laws. Yes, people make policies. Yes, people buy stuff and raise prices and do all those things. But you still only limited by you. You still only limited by you. There are still rich men being created. There's still people being successful of all races and all colors. There are still communities out there that are surviving and flourishing because they support each other. They don't destroy each other. They got each other's back. And they have a strong family structure and tradition. And these are the things that we're losing. So you're only limited by you. We have to stop pointing the blame at some imaginary force or some imaginary law or some imaginary rule that we can't see, that we think is trying to prevent us from getting to where we need to be. No one can stop you from doing that.
Yep.
I'm the end of that.
All right, heavy topic. I don't even know where to start with my closing, but I'll start by almost totally disagreeing with what the doc just said. I believe that Black people in particularly have absolutely no clue as to how powerful they are if they work together, if they understand what it means to boycott, what it means to truly lobby for something of sense, if they understood exactly what the odds are against them. We talk about, not crying about systemic racism, but at the same time, it became illegal to lynch people in 2022. So we cannot, we absolutely cannot ignore that, especially in America, and by extension the Bahamas, because we come from British rule, and then our close proximity to America and our short goldfish type short-term memory of what the Bahamas really can possibly be, understanding that we lost banking as being the #2 industry, that tourism is not the same as it was, and when even if it is, if people they comment about, I going off topic, but anyway, Black people are powerful people, but we have to learn to get together and lobby for things of sense, of meaning, of value, things that are going to change our way of life, not so that we could wear our pants down below our hip. There was one movement in my time that it hit me to my heart, because I always had an issue with weave, right? In my younger ignorant years. I would say that I was very ignorant, trying to tell women that they shouldn't wear, they should wear their natural hair, they should love themselves. That was stupid of me to do, right? I didn't understand. But there was a situation where a young girl got in trouble at school when the principal or teacher said that she wasn't well groomed. She was ungroomed. She looked unkept. Why? Because she was wearing her natural hair in a ponytail. There are businesses, hotels that you are not allowed to wear your natural hair at. So we can't be foolish to say that there's not something that's making us not uncomfortable with being ourselves, bro.
Next week. I'll say it next week.
You could say it now. You chime in.
Well, now when you say wear your hair natural, right? Listen, you have people that wear their hair natural nice, and then there's people that wear their hair natural stupidly extreme.
Yes,
now,
but we're
in
not
the place of business, this is business. We're not dealing with your personal feelings. Hey, listen, if I hire somebody and I say, it's cool to wear your hair natural, that's fine. You come in with your hair curly, whatever, and looks nice. I have no problem with that. Now, you come in here with your hair fresh out the bed with all type of stupid shit in your hair and it's all locked to one side. You try to come on, you fired. That's natural.
Yeah, that's not what we're talking about.
But people, hold on, though. That's not what we're talking about. But people understand. But understand, though, people will take it to that extreme.
And those are the ignorant people I'm talking about. They need to be educated, and we need to come together and lobby for things,
Get out of here.
intelligent things, smart things. And if we do that as a people, we could change. We could get. If y'all want the reparations, lobby as a group. Lobby as a voting bloc. Y'all want it?
No 40 acres. You ain't getting it. You ain't getting it. Lobby all you want.
In society, you come together and you show people that you show all the other races that are in charge that you don't need them. And when you're able to accomplish that, they will give you whatever it is that you need. Because I want you to know, black people
you're gonna get a chihuahua and a flower.
Say again.
You're gonna get a chihuahua and a flower. You ain't getting no 40 acres, no mule.
Well, that's my belief. If black people can come together, because that's what the 2S LGBTQ plus community do. They lobby, and now they got plenty of people around here having to call them whatever it is that they want to be called. Oh,
well, it's gonna be a 2-hour show right here.
I done. Next week.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is officially the longest show we ever had.
Yeah. What we doing next week?
We got to tackle this again, but I think we should talk about.
We got to cover the part 2 of this.
That's it. Yes, we do. I agree with you two views of that.
Yeah.
But
you want a part 2 next week?
We can do that.
Okay.
Let me pull up.
You know what? Since we hot on it right now, yeah, part 2. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, definitely subscribe. Say again.
You obviously not finished.
Going on an hour and 30, we definitely ain't finished.
If it changes, we want everybody to know exactly what to expect on the next episode of the Sup'm Show. This is episode 46. Black people benefited from slavery. Do subscribe so you get a notification as to when we go live. If you need any flooring work done, make sure hit up your boy JP Knowles Wood Flooring in Florida. I was supposed to have that already typed up to drop in that, but don't worry, we moving up. And if y'all want some of these chickens,
bro,
y'all want some of these chickens?
They want some of these, man. They ain't no.
Empire Fitness is where you can get them. That's it. We got big things happening. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe, man. It's gonna be a fun trip. It's gonna be wisdom, and that's it. That's episode 46. We out.
Peace.